Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Motor Stardom Show. It is Tuesday, March 31st, 2026, and we're coming off of what was a very fun weekend at Martinsville. It was my first time there. We'll recap kind of my thoughts. Obviously, going to the Speedway for the first time, the paperclip, had a lot of fun. My first true short track NASCAR race, so that was a lot of fun. I got to experience that weekend with Mason Maggio, who was not in the car, but he was there to obviously enjoy the weekend with yours truly, but also to study. Ross Chastain, who was in the number 91 car for DGM Racing, got them a great finish, a top 10. But nonetheless, Mason, how we doing? Oh, I can't hear you. Can't hear nothing. You're mudded, bro. Oh, can't hear. Anyways, in the meantime,
Hey.
hey, one guy figures things out. We'll bring the other in here. T-Pop. I know you didn't get to see much of Martinsville this weekend, but other than that, new Gymshark shirt for you, man. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Starting to get nice out. Got my first round at the links yesterday. Played some golf, first golf of the year. Felt nice to get out there. Um, got no sponsor, but I know you did as well. I got my rice treats from Prime Bites.
Shout out.
Okay, I feel very stupid. I'm sorry. Oh wait. Oh, there we go. I feel very stupid right now. I'm not gonna lie. I thought my mic was muted the whole time, and then I looked down and I'm like, never mind. I just muted myself with the actual mute button that we have on the software that we use. So I apologize for interrupting, Tanner, but I just want to let you know I just had a stupid moment on my part, to say the least.
Listen,
But
dude,
shout out, Brian.
Listen, dude, I'm stupid too. It's all right.
I may be dumb, but I'm not stupid.
Before we get into NASCAR, I want RJ. Have you tried all the Prime Bites flavors?
So I haven't tried the strawberry one yet officially.
Is that strawberry in your hand right there?
That is the one
that is
left.
strawberry right there.
That's
Not
the one that I
sponsored,
left.
ladies and gentlemen, but we are open to being sponsored by Prime Bites and Caesar Vaccarella.
Working on it.
So
Yeah.
I like strawberry flavored stuff, and the strawberry on that is very light. As you can see, it says strawberry cream.
It does, in fact, say strawberry cream.
It's definitely creamier. Like it's not very like strawberry heavy, but I still think the chocolate and vanilla are much better.
Yeah, I'm always a chocolate vanilla guy when it comes to desserts. I'm not a big strawberry guy. I haven't. I technically I tried a piece of the strawberry one, but not like a full one yet. I left that one for Mason. Now I will say, real quick is I do think the cold got to some of those because one that I had in the airport was really hard, but it had been sitting out in the 30, 40-degree weather for a while in my suitcase, but I got back home and they were back to being softer. So don't know the consistency of that bar that you will eat at some point, Mason. But we will have to find out. But yes, now the newest holder of my microphone.
I was gonna say, I was like, man, you made those upgrades real quick that you and I were talking about. I'm still holding mine in my hand, but I gotta work on extending it.
My mic's up here now. It's right in my mouth. So
pause.
Man, happy.
Resume.
Welcome everybody to the Motor Stardom Show. Like I said, got a few things I do want to say before we get officially started. Checkered Flag Dan, our usual viewer, he had texted me. He was MIA for the last few weeks. He had some losses in the family, so we want to send our, whether he's watching right now or not, we want to send our well wishes to Checkered Flag Dan, literally the number one, original fan of the Motor Stardom Show, going back already over a year now. So I want to send our well wishes to him. And then in the media industry, Joseph Strigley, he's a guy I used to work with in 2022 and 2023 with TobyChristie.com. And now he works for Racing America and Toby Christie. Today was his last day working for them. He was let go and he doesn't know what's next. So Joseph was absolute champion to work with. Anybody that picks him up will be super lucky to have him. Hopefully maybe one time we can have him here on the Motor Stardom show here in the in the near future. But nonetheless, to get over to Martinsville, we'll start out by talking about the hot dog.
Tough.
It was mid. Anyways, we will move on to the race. There was Chase Elliott who got the victory in Martinsville. Wasn't the most exciting Cup Series race at Martinsville. Seems like they haven't really been in the next gen era. We'll get to that in a little bit. But first and foremost, just to talk about obviously the result of the race and kind of what played out. Denny Hamlin dominated the show. One stage one, one stage two, and every time I've asked myself the question, hey, is anybody going to beat this guy that swept the stages? It usually happens. It's happened twice when Larson was dominating Darlington, and now Hamlin dominating Martinsville. So Alan Gustafson calls the shot. They had a bad strategy call last week, and now they decide to pit him early on a green flag run. Cautions fall their way. Chase Elliott gets out, holds on to the lead for a handful of laps. Not like it was just a green white checker to the finish. He lucked into it. Like he still had to drive that number 9 car. They had pace in that car. It was basically just going from maybe a 5th to 7th place finish to a win. So Mason, I'll start with you. You were there. You watched the race with me. What did you make of not only obviously the strategy call by Alan Gustafson, but the ability of Chase Elliott to stay out front there and hold off, the seemingly dominant Denny Hamlin there in the last 50 or so laps?
It's all about getting clean air and controlling the race, RJ. I mean, that's huge in itself. I think especially with this car in particular, I don't think we see that at short tracks, but I wouldn't doubt for a second that it probably played some sort of effect, always does. But no, honestly, I didn't know what to think of Gustafson's call at the time, and I was just like, all right, well, they're throwing a Hail Mary and trying to see where they come out the other side, right? And ultimately it paid off. I mean, they beat the guy that was arguably the class of the field at Martinsville, and that was Denny Hamlin. I mean, won both stages, led the most laps out of the day, was super fast in practice and qualifying. So kudos to that whole 9 team for putting that all together and really just going off of Alan's gut instincts in a sense, because that's what he said in the press conference. I mean, RJ, you and I were there, and that's what he said. He's like, I had to go off of gut, not data, which I feel like was probably even more cool was that alone. So kudos to the 9 team. Like I said in the little video that we did after the race, RJ, I feel like they've been quietly consistent, but just haven't put themselves in the picture of, hey, we're contending for a win this week. Then again, it's only race, I think, 7 in the season. But, I mean, to get that started between being quietly consistent, getting a win, I feel like especially in this chase format, that's going to be super beneficial. So congrats to the 9 team. That was it made for a very interesting race, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I'll relay it to you, Tanner. I know you didn't get to see much of the race, but kind of just speak on, Chase Elliott this season. Obviously, last year they had a very consistent season. Didn't get all the race wins, but they did so well in points. So now you transition to this new points format, this new chase format where points matter more. And people are still hacking on Alan Gustafson and this entire crew, but he goes out there, kind of silences the doubters and gets this win really early on in the season.
Yeah, so from what I saw, bad late strategy from Denny Hamlin's team, but also what kind of screwed Denny Hamlin to try and get a spot back from Chase Elliott was when they hit the end of the pack of that race. Denny Hamlin, it was hard for him to pass those cars in the back. They just were doing what most of the time it's common courtesy. They move out of the way. They're like, oh, I'm 3 laps down. Let the leaders pass and race. But Denny Hamlin it was kind of hard for him to pass those guys, and I think that's what helped Chase Elliott a lot.
They were making it hard. That was one thing that I did notice for everybody. But I feel like in those moments, it can even go 50-50. It can be worse for the car in first, but it can also be worse for the car in second. It's just a matter of, when they get by them and how good your car is in traffic. So I think one thing that I always hear, and Mason could probably, test this just being a driver, but I noticed that, or I hear a lot that some guy, if you dominate the race, you dominate stage 1, stage 2, you're not really having to pass anybody for position at all. You don't really learn those things about your car compared to guys who have been in the back of the field and having to make those passes. So, Chase Elliott was a guy that ran behind people of his caliber the majority of the race and was having to make passes and having to defend, to whereas Denny Hamlin did not. I mean, literally, when he lost the lead on that pit cycle, that was the only time he was behind, So already experienced a little trouble racing Ryan Blaney there. Ryan Blaney gets, put in the fence. So they already had that contact that kind of put Hamlin a little bit more behind the eight ball. So, it was, I think Hamlin just, kind of wasn't able to rally of some sorts. And you feel like that's realistic to say about a lot of these races where, like, obviously it's a benefit if you're dogging the field and win stage one and stage two, you have a really good car. But would you say maybe one negative is that of that, Mason, is that you don't get to learn how your car is in true traffic?
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, I think Dale Earnhardt said it best, and quoted it. It's not about the guy that has the fastest car. It's the one that refuses to lose and is able to put himself in and make something happen. Right. So, and that quote still lives up to this day. I would definitely say that for sure. Your car's handles just so much different in traffic, right? And then we talk about track position all the freaking time. Whether it's a mile and a half, short tracks, road courses, you name it. But I feel like at a place like Martinsville, where it is like super, super tough to pass, having track position is absolutely key. But yeah, I mean, like you said, like as soon as he got back there, I mean, not that he couldn't get around those guys, but you got a lot to maintain, right? And you saw Blaney I'm sorry, not Blaney, but Denny Hamlin get pretty physical, put Ryan Blaney straight up in the wall. There's no way to sugarcoat that, right? But and just trying to charge his way up through the field. But it's so tough to pass in these cars. Track position is becoming more and more crucial, I think, in today's age now than ever, because even though you got a fast car, you still got to make stuff happen, right? Nobody's just going to pull over for you. So I would definitely agree with that statement, RJ. I would say, having his car finally get to a point, unfortunately, and probably one of the more crucial part of the races, and finding out, okay, I've got a lot that I still need to do, and there's still a couple guys that now that they're ahead of me, they can stay ahead of me because we're fairly even, and it's just a matter of who's in front of the others. So I would agree with that statement for sure. And like I said, it's with these cars, it's tougher and tougher to pass, especially at Martinsville, unless you're having to get physical like Denny did a couple times there, getting up through the field.
They did. They did get physical, and we'll pull up Ryan Blaney's quote from post race on pit road. He was calm and cordial, something that we've seen out of Ryan Blaney. Like, a lot of people relate to Ryan Blaney like screaming on the radio and getting mad and dropping some F bombs, which he sure does. But what he has said publicly is that he does that so he doesn't go out there and use his car as a weapon. He's a guy that's never fought somebody after the race. So they asked him, and calm, cool, and collected, he said, I don't feel like I got pinched. I feel like I just got driven into the fence, and deemed it was unnecessary. We don't know if Hamlin and Blaney have talked since then or any texts have been exchanged, but Ryan Blaney was certainly, he was my pick for the race. I think Ryan Blaney is the best driver on the long run in NASCAR right now, point blank period, at any racetrack. He's a guy where if you get a long run, even if they kind of miss the setup, I still think he can get a top 10. I think he's just that damn good. So he had driven himself all the way up to second, just in time for that final yellow. They didn't want that yellow to come out because they wanted it to stretch out and not lean into shenanigans. And he gets walled and, still is able to muscle out a top 10. But, do you feel like there's anything that would come from this? I'll start with Tanner. You as a Ryan Blaney fan, you pretty pissed off or what?
I mean, he got that close, and to see him get rammed into the wall sucks. But I mean, I don't really think Ryan Blaney's the kind of guy that you'd see some footage of after a race going into someone's face and like, hey, that wasn't necessary. He said what he needed to say on an interview, and I think that's it. I don't even think he'd reach out for a text. I think that's just it. He screams on the radio, and it's awesome. But I don't really think he's the guy to get super pissed about it.
Yeah. How about you, Mason?
I mean, Ryan Blaney's a better guy than I am because me personally, I've taken it out on other people that have had nothing to do with it, right? But that's just the passion of our sport, right? And I do agree with you. I think Ryan Blaney is by far one of the best on the long run, especially at places like Martinsville, and obviously he's got a couple grandfather clocks to prove that. So it's just the emotion, man. You want to. There's times where you want to wring a guy's neck after they do something like that to you, right? But at the end of the day, it's like you got to think long term, right? And I think Ryan's probably one of the best with that. Is like destroying each other's race cars is not what is going to get you to where you want to go, and that's being in a contention for a championship at the end of the year, right? So I think he's a better guy than I am with that stuff, because he's just always been pretty calm, cool, and collected for the most part. But that demeanor I think goes a long way. Like I said, when trying to go hunt for a championship, and I think it's what's made him a champion in the first place, is being able to have that demeanor of, hey, like, let me get it out of my system, and then we're going to move on the next week. I'm going to race him hard, but I'm not going to wreck the guy. So I feel like that's where kind of Ryan's mentality really comes into play, whenever he has had instances like that.
Yeah, I think so as well, and I think it's definitely good for him. Good for him to have this speed early on. Obviously, they're second in the point standings. Still a very far amount behind Tyler Reddick because of the fact that Reddick has won 4 races in the first 7 here. But certainly, I would think my title pick, I think still at this point, I think will be Ryan Blaney. But before we move on to the O'Reilly Series race, kind of the storylines there, I kind of want to look at the point position swings we had here in the Cup Series. Early in the season, you're going to see a lot of positions change more often because the gaps are a lot closer than they're going to be in about 20 races. And so you're going to see these positions jump around, but obviously we are still going to be watching that cut line. But drivers that were able to make big jumps, Austin Cindric stuck out to me. I talked to him after the race. Very relieved of the fact that they were able to have a good finish because they've had good speed all season. I think they've been the team. While obviously Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano getting a top 3 at Martinsville are the flagship guys. Austin Cindric's had a very quietly consistent season. Josh Berry finally was able to have a good race in that 21 car. They've had a terrible start of the season. He jumped up 7 spots. Briscoe finally has a little bit better luck, although they did not have the speed. But that just shows how far back they were in the point standings, that they still jumped 5 spots. NASCAR app was messed up. Ty Gibbs actually leaped 5 spots up in the point standings, and he's up at the very top. So I do want to talk about those 4 drivers first, and we can talk about those guys before we get into the negatives. Mason, I'll start with you. Which one sticks out most to you? Because you look at the guys in green. You got Cindric, who's kind of in the middle. Barry and Briscoe have had terrible luck to start this season, and they're just trying to get back up into the top 20. And you got Ty Gibbs, who is up in, I believe, the top 7 in points right now. What stands out most to you here?
I'd say Cindric. I'd say Barry too. Actually, I mean, technically both Penske cars. I think Cindric, realistically speaking, out of the Penske group, is the 3rd best car. Just being brutally honest with talking about results and where Team Penske, with Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano have been. I feel like Cindric is one of those guys where again, he's not really in the picture. He's kind of quietly consistent, but he'll find a way to pull off a victory or 2 throughout the year, right? But I feel like for Cindric to be able to do that is big. Josh Berry too. I mean, the fact is like they struggled pretty bad last year. Like it seemed like after the Vegas win, where they were at their peak, it just plummeted right into a freaking dumpster fire. So, and we know Josh Berry is a damn good race car driver. There's a reason he's at this level, right? Is because he's a proven winner. So, and we know the 21 team can be good. And I felt like Vegas last year was proof of that. And it's tough when you get down in a rut like that. It's tough to come out of that. But I feel like Josh has had a pretty good start to the season and has been able to climb his way back up into the picture, which is great. He had great speed last weekend at Martinsville, qualified 3rd, and was in the running for pretty much all day long. So I'd say I say technically because the Wood brothers are part of Penske, but call it the 2 Penske cars are probably the biggest shocks to me in a good way that they've been able to claw themselves out of the hole that they've been in to start the year.
Yeah. How about you, T-Pop?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say Cindric as well. Being a Ryan Blaney teammate and all that, so I pay more attention to those cars. I think Cindric is very consistent. He's definitely has some underrated speed, and to see him climb rankings, I think he'll keep going. I think he'll win a couple of races this year. Kind of a hot take. I think Cindric could finish at most 10th. I think he could get up there in points. I think he can. He's climbing up now, and I think he's consistently getting there. I think he could finish 10th in points this year and keep climbing.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's certainly possible if the cars have the speed as well. Things certainly seem to be clicking for them, so we'll see what type of speed they have at Bristol. As far as in the red, Bubba Wallace drops 9 spots, Hertz drops 7, Ty Dillon drops 7, John Hunter Nemechek drops 5. I don't even talk about those last three because to be brutally honest as well, I don't see them doing much this season. I think the big story here is Bubba Wallace dropping 9 spots here. Already dropped some spots over the last weekend because of a bad finish. Now he DNFs at Martinsville. This is the stuff that you have to watch, especially when the field is so competitive, right? 23XI has this amazing first, 5 weeks of the season. Bubba Wallace is right behind his teammate in points. All of a sudden, we got two bad finishes and we're dropped 9 in the points. You think that's a concern here for the 23 camp, Mason?
I'd say a little bit. I felt like last weekend was interesting to say the least. I think Bubba just let his temper get the best of him there, and ultimately that cost him at the end of the day. So, I think the 23 team has probably come in with more speed than what they've had in the past, and for me, I think that's pretty exciting. If I'm Bubba Wallace and the rest of the 23 11 group is like, okay, we got speed, we're with our teammates, we've been in the threat for a win here, and I think on like 2 occasions, I mean, had really good speed at Atlanta. I thought they had a shot to win there, and then I thought, Bubba's been good at Martinsville before, so I thought, okay, well maybe that's their opportunity race, maybe not to win, but to be in the mix for a top 5, top 10 finish. So I don't want to say I'd be concerned, but I'm curious to see what the next couple stretches of races are going to look like, and can they get themselves out of this rut in a sense? Because I feel like, I don't want to say it's going to be a trend, but you don't want to let one bad weekend dictate the rest of your year, and then you're trying to be so focused to get out of that you lose sight of, just trying to, you know, do what you need to do to get the points and build the momentum that you need back up.
Yeah, exactly. I think, the other aspect I look at as well is thinking maybe it's good to have this type of wake up call early in the season, to where if they go on a decent roll and then later kind of get their heads too out of control and then have these DNFs, it's too late to recover. But I think now to have the great season they started, have the DNFs, and kind of, okay, now you can reset. I think Freddie Kraft made a tweet where the whole team talked and was like, okay, these last 2 weeks we've learned what not to do. You can't do this when you're points racing. And so hopefully they don't make that mistake again. Tanner, did you get to see the incident between him and Hosabar?
I did not. I saw the Bubba Wallace interview when he was in the pits afterwards. Um, I think I agree with RJ. I think that it's better to have an up and like very far down kind of thing going on this early in the year, because it's like, okay, well, started off hot, last two races kind of sucked a lot, but now you get to build back up. Not I think it's definitely better to do it now than do it towards the end of the year when everyone's racing hard as they can to sneak themselves in playoffs. Like, I think Bubba Wallace still ends up top 10. I think that you kind of have to leave these races behind you, but at the same time you have to have them as a reminder. Like, okay, I've had my DNF of the year. I got to go on. I got to get better. So look back at it, but look back at it in a good way.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll see what happens with them as we go. And off weekend, great. great weekend to reset for the Cup Series. They do not race this weekend, but the O'Reilly and Truck Series do at Rockingham. So I want to kind of switch gears to the O'Reilly Series here. And before we do, we can listen to me and Mason's recap live from the track at Martinsville to get you caught up from this weekend's race.
What is up, everybody? We're out here at the Martinsville Speedway, and today was the Cup race, but we're here to talk about some O'Reilly Auto Parts Series racing. Justin Allgaier got his third win of the season in a very interesting race. A lot of comers and goers, but even with all the comers and goers, it's still the guy that now has won 3 of the 7 races this season. Justin Allgaier, what'd you make of yesterday's race?
I felt like it was very entertaining. I mean, I felt like the O'Reilly Series delivered at Martinsville per usual. But yeah, I mean, the junior motorsports cars were super good. I mean, all weekend long. I mean, whether it was Allgaier, Polium, who had an impressive debut in the 9 car yesterday. Rajah was up front, led a handful of laps as well. And, Sammy Smith, always super competitive here at Martinsville. This is just kind of one of his places. And then, I know they're not exactly the same team, but I mean, they have a good alliance with Hendrick Motorsports. Got to throw in Corey Day into that conversation as well. Corey Day, very solid all weekend long for as much crap as we gave him at the beginning of the year. He's really turned it around and obviously was a contender there at the end. So I feel like that paid dividend and showed a lot of people, hey, I'm learning and I'm getting better and I'm able to put some of these races and the results together. So that was really cool to see. But Junior Motorsports definitely the class of the field towards the front.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously a quick shout out to also some other great finishes. Myatt Snyder, Barrett Cope Racing, top 20, much needed for them. Blaine Perkins, absolutely destroyed race car. I don't know how they finished top 20, but they sure did. Patrick Staropoli also got bullied, damn near bullied all race long, somehow comes home with the top 20. So a lot of storylines. As it's funny, the Cup Series goes into an off weekend, but the O'Reilly Series is still in action next weekend at
Cut off Rockingham. But yes, sir, going to Rockingham. It was great. The conveniently placed O'Reilly Auto Parts signs there in the front straightaway gave me inspiration to talk about the greatest series, the greatest stock car series in the world. So, like I said, there were a lot of great finishes throughout the field, including Ross Chastain finishing 8th for DGM. But we can kind of start from the top here. Mason, Justin Allgaier, like we were talking about. Third win already in 7 races. It's a very long stretch here for the O'Reilly Series. Like when you guys get your first weekend off, when these teams get their first weekend off, I'm sure it's going to be a very big sigh of relief. And it doesn't look like it comes until the end of May, I believe.
It's something like that. Yeah, we've got a long time till we get our off weekend, and even we call it an off weekend, but at the end of the day, teams are looking at it as, okay, great, this is our opportunity to get ahead, or at least try to get ahead on upcoming races and race cars being ready to go. So, but yeah, no, it's pretty wild. But yeah, I felt like O'Reilly Auto Parts Series put on a show per usual. I think we can all agree on that. But yeah, I was gonna start explaining stuff, but I kind of just did technically with the video that RJ just showed.
We did explain some stuff. So I played that because I know we got some other stuff that we'll have to get to. I do want to talk about this confrontation that I recorded with my phone for 7 minutes between Jesse Love and Rajah Caruth. And obviously, jokingly, I talk about all week going into Martinsville, I want to see a fight. I want to see a brawl. I want to record one. I want a world star, like you were in the high school hallways recording a fight. I did say that. But I will say it was great to see. I think Mark Barton made a tweet or somebody did, but it was great to see, 2 young drivers. They had an issue that really was just caused by Martinsville. It wasn't anything super blatant. Tempers got high towards the end of the race. They kind of beat each other up. Rajah Caruth ends up the one getting spun around by Brent Cruz in the final corner. And these two have a conversation. No fists, no fights, just a pat on the shoulder as Jesse Love seemingly stares into my camera here, mogging us as he walked away from Rajah Caruth. But, Tanner, obviously, you're a fan, you're a race fan, you're a UFC fan, whatever you want to say. Are you glad as well? Can you kind of, we all enjoy a good fight, but can you also enjoy the fact that 2 young drivers just went over there and talked it out, fist bumped?
I mean, no one. I mean, as cool as a fight would be to see in NASCAR, and especially in the pits right after a race, just swinging, dueling it out, pit crews coming in, splitting stuff up. It's cool to see. It's cool to see some guys, talk their differences out and just end it with a fist bump. The race is over, talk things out like, hey, this and that happened, whatever, we're good, and that's that.
Yeah, and I mean to Tanner's point too. I mean, like just seeing, guys at that age, right? Not letting their emotions get the best of them, talking it out. I mean, granted, RJ, I know you wanted to film a fight, and you're like, man, I could possibly blow up if I film this fight, right? And I want to see some short track action, right? And maybe we definitely did, but I feel like it was very mature of those guys to be able to have a conversation. And I mean, shoot, the crew chiefs and the crew guys almost got into a fight before the actual drivers did. So I found that pretty interesting. I think Danny Stockman is the Jesse Love's crew chief, about ripped Raja's head off with everything that happened. But I felt like the video that was showed, I forgot who posted it on Twitter, so I apologize for not giving credit. But somebody posted a video that I saw where the two pulled themselves out of that confrontation, that conversation, and said, "Hey, we're going to go talk it out. We don't need you guys to be involved. This is between the drivers." I felt like that was very mature, and I felt like that's what we need to see more of. Granted, everybody loves a good brawl every once in a while, right? But I think with the situation that Raja and Jesse had, it was not intentional by any means. It was just a racing incident, and I think Jesse just wanted to get his perspective, and Raja wants to, is going to explain. They're going to agree and disagree, but I felt like for the incident that it was on the racetrack, there was no need to have it go anything crazy or carry it on forward. Like you said, RJ, it was just Martinsville racing. Everybody's trying to get after it late in the going and trying to get all the real estate that they can. And it wasn't Raja's fault. He just kind of got shoved in there. And then unfortunately, Jesse was just kind of there. So, but I thought this was really cool to see. And I thought it was very mature of the both of them to do that. So, but yeah, hopefully nothing transfers moving forward, because I feel like both of these guys are great drivers and, deserve to be able to continue to fight the good fight as we continue on with the O'Reilly season going into Rockingham.
Yes, this was good to see, and I think two drivers here that as long as their manufacturers and teams give them the right destinies, will have a long future in this sport. Both Jesse Love and Rajah Caruth. So great to see them make up, because they will be racing against each other for a long time, we all assume. But now, taken away from Martinsville, it was kind of a big news day in the NASCAR world. All around the O'Reilly and the Truck Series, a Cup Series announcement as well that we'll get to. But I do want to start with something that Checkered Flag Dan came in the chat talking about, is really just confirmed about an hour ago, just about an hour-ish before we went on air for the show. AM Racing has withdrawn from the entry list at Rockingham. This is the entry that has, Nick Sanchez has driven for the first 7 races of the season. This was a deal that was really finalized before the season, because Sigma had purchased AM Racing, and then AM Racing, that deal fell out. AM Racing takes the team back. None of the assets were ever really transferred. And so AM Racing is like, all right, deal fell apart. I mean, this was like 2 or 3 weeks before Daytona, or not even. They're like, yeah, deal fell apart. We're going to Daytona, though. We're taking 2 cars, and we're going to run a car full time. And everyone's like, all right, here we go. So they do it. They show up. Daytona. Nick Sanchez had a bad race. Atlanta came out, had a better race. Go to some of these.
Damn near won the thing.
Yeah, about near won that damn race. And so now we go to the mile and a half short tracks. All right, they've had decent speed, ruffled a few feathers, but they've wrecked a few cars. Obviously, this was just one of the cars sitting in the garage that I just happened to take a picture of when we were on our way out during the modified race. But maybe telling of kind of their tenure here in the O'Reilly series is now Daniel Dye was supposed to be funded in their 52 for a handful of races. He gets suspended by NASCAR. That seemingly kind of falls apart. AM Racing probably is very hesitant to get that deal back together. And now Nick Sanchez, a guy that kind of, didn't have too much funding, a ton of funding at least, or got booted out of the big machine ride from Patrick Staropoli. Now this ride has seemingly ended after 7 races. We don't know if they're just going to skip a few races and come back, but seemingly in this instance where they announced that they were going to be full time and with a second car part time, that things have doors have probably closed here. Mason, I guess we could probably assume.
I don't know. It's tough to say, RJ, right? It's like I feel the same way about another team that we talked about that we figured, well, they're going to be full time, right? Like Barrett Cope Racing withdrew from this weekend as well, and I'm sure that's another storyline that we're probably going to get to. But I mean, that's 2 full time teams that have withdrawn from this weekend's race, and I mean that's pretty shocking in all reality. But I mean, it's been super tough. It's been a really, really tough couple of months for AM Racing. There's no question about that. I mean, from what I understand from some people that I know over at that organization, is SPS was supposed to bring a bunch of stuff over there that was going to be essentially their stuff, right? At the end of the day, their people, the whole 9 yards, right? Everything was going to be pretty much not completely from scratch, but a lot of their stuff was going to be theirs, essentially, not transferred over from AM to the SPS. So, and then obviously when that didn't go through, they still had, contractual obligations for Nick Sanchez, and that was a big part of that. So being able to try to get a lot of their stuff back, a lot of their people back was a big part of that, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, now we're scrambling to get everything ready for Daytona. And then, oh yeah, by the way, Daniel Dye has come to the table and is going to go do a couple races with us now. So, and that was a deal that he put together through SPS. So, which ultimately that deal got transferred over back to AM Racing. And from, it's been really tough for them to field 1 car this year, let alone 2. I know a bunch of the guys that I know that work over there that were literally working days and nights to get cars ready to go. Over on the West Coast too. I mean, I had a couple of buddies that were like, yeah, we're still like at 1:00 in the morning that are like, yeah, we're still here putting race cars together for Vegas after Phoenix. So I mean, it's super tough. This year has been tough, really, really tough for them. No doubt about it. I was definitely shocked to see that. But at the same time, like you said, with their on-track luck outside of Atlanta, it's been pretty abysmal. There's no way to sugarcoat that. I mean, they've had great speed, but they have not been able to put it together for whatever rhyme or reason. So there's definitely a lot going on behind the scenes, just from what I've been able to gather. I'd be curious to see how they proceed forward, because there are some other plans that they're supposed to have later on throughout the year. But I mean, maybe it's an opportunity for them to regroup and try to figure out what the future holds for those couple of deals. But definitely a shock to, I feel like, a lot of people. And then like I said, kind of the same thing with Barrett Cope Racing. Had a lot of plans, had some stuff that they wanted to do, but obviously this year has not gone the way that they wanted to whatsoever. It's been very tough for them too. So I feel like it's just a testament to how tough the business side is on the O'Reilly Auto Parts series right now, because I mean it's super, super competitive. Anybody that you talk with that's been in the game for a long period of time, such as, people that we've had on the show, right? Garrett Smithley, Josh Balicki, have all said to me that this is by far the toughest the O'Reilly series has ever been. It was never like this when they entered the sport, with these smaller teams and trying to figure it out. There was a way to make it work without having to go crazy over budget. But now you come into the series, and if you don't have the budget that you need to go put it all together, it's super tough. And if I feel like now, and RJ, you and I talked about this pretty extensively with I think it might have been Dawson Cram, funny enough. It's just the fact of like one mistake for one weekend and you're down a couple spots in owners points. Like one mistake. It's not one spot, it's not 2 spots, it's like 3 to 5 spots. And I can attest to that, because even with when we had a tough day at Darlington with DGM Racing and Alex Bay in the car, I mean, we dropped 5 spots in points, and then all the other guys around us were going all the way up in points. So I feel like it's so tough nowadays, probably more than ever, to compete in the O'Reilly series, which it's great for the series, but at the same time, can't slouch. You got to be on your A game, and you got to be guns blazing. I think this year more than ever, and probably for the future as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Barrett Cope Racing as well, who has withdrawn from the field at Rockingham. They're not withdrawn; they just weren't on the entry list to begin with when it was posted yesterday. So very interesting. It's not good for them. We know Barrett Cope Racing is going through a struggle right now. We know AM Racing is going through a struggle right now. Kind of two teams that look. I mean, you can talk about budget, this and that. You ultimately got to be prepared as possible for the season and prepared for when things do go wrong, right? And if you, like you said, if you don't have that budget or you don't have that flexibility to kind of be prepared when you have a bad start to the season, things will kind of end up like this. So we know Barrett Crope has had some rough finishes, some wrecked race cars as well. We know that AM Racing has had kind of the same. So certainly unfortunate there on both ends. But the positive is your buddy Dawson Cram and Mike Harmon Racing. They get free spotted in the show next week and possibly the weekend after. We'll see how long this 38, possibly 37 car field lasts. Joey Gase Motorsports, obviously, they're bringing the 35 back, still listed as TBA. Don't know who's driving it, but they're in the show this weekend. And Cletus McFarland is locked into the show this weekend. A lot of talk was about, hey, what's going to happen with Cletus here? Could he possibly DNQ from the race? Because, they weren't going to, obviously they're low in owner's points, but he's going to lock into his first Rockingham race. So he can kind of just go out in that 50-minute practice session, work on his car, work on his craft. So proud Motor Stardom supporter here, Cletus McFarland. Love to see it. Tanner, what do you know about Cletus McFarland?
Nothing.
Fair enough. Well, I'll take over then. But I think for Cletus, this is exactly kind of what you want to see. Maybe not the circumstances that you wanted to see it in, but it's what you want to see, and that's what it's all about, right? For Cletus' standpoint, is you want to get the seat time and the laps. Don't have to do anything special or crazy over the top. You just want to be able to get out there and learn. And as somebody that has had to learn on the fly, but also have the pressure in the back of your mind of, oh yeah, by the way, you've got to beat however many cars and be top 32 in order to even make the show for tomorrow or later that afternoon, whatever. Like it dwindles down on you, right? And it's a tough thing to withstand, for yourself and also for your partners. Obviously, RCR, they're not an organization that goes home, right? But this is I think it's a great opportunity for Cletus to get some seat time on I don't want to say that Daytona is not a real racetrack because that's not true, but at a place where, hey, like Rockingham, where it's like, hey, you've got to drive the car and you've got to be able to learn how the air works, how to get around guys, all that stuff. So I feel like it's going to be a very big learning weekend. And now that he doesn't have the pressure of, oh, am I even going to make the race to start? I think is a huge weight off of his shoulders going into this weekend.
Oh yeah, 1000%. And I excited to see him out there, right? We've had enough time to have the media discourse and the conversations and the approval process conversation every week on Door Bumper Clear. Like all that time has passed. We've had it. Now it's time. It's race week at Rockingham, and Cletus is going to go out there in the O'Reilly race and the ARCA race on the same day. So he will get to run the ARCA race before the O'Reilly race, I believe, unless the ARCA race is after. I can't remember.
I think to your point, RJ, I think it's in the same day, if I'm not mistaken.
Same day,
yeah. Because it's like around noon, a little after, and then the O'Reilly race is later on. I think around like 4 o'clock.
O'Reilly
like
races,
so.
Well, the O'Reilly race, 2:30. So I guess they're going to run the ARCA race.
That is true, though. He's going to get a lot of seat time then if that's the case between Rockingham and then hopping into the O'Reilly cars. So I think this weekend is going to be a really big learning weekend for Cletus.
Yeah, big learning weekend there. So, and a quick shout out while I look at the schedule here. Really fun few weeks of O'Reilly Auto Parts Series racing coming up. Obviously, we get Rockingham, and then I'm a big night race lover. How about Saturday night? We get Bristol under the lights on Saturday, April 11th. That is going to be an amazing race. And then under the lights at Kansas on April 18th.
Is it really?
Weekend. Yeah,
7:30
or 7 o'clock. I saw it on Garrett Smithley's calendar.
That's right. He did write that down. Yeah.
I had to double check. And then Talladega the weekend after that, already a banger. and then Texas Motor Speedway.
Don't sound so excited, RJ.
Well,
yeah, dude.
It's just Texas, you know.
Don't
You're like Bristol, Kansas, Talafreaking-Daga, and then Texas.
It's there.
Don't smile. Don't
If
smile.
I was there, I'd be a little.
I don't know why, but that really reminded me of that one clip of Jeremy. I forgot his name, from Top Gear, but Jeremy, whatchamacallit?
Jeremy.
Just Jeremy.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember for the life of me. But it's like that one meme where he's like, "Oh no." Anyway, like that's the vibe that you're giving me. Right
That's
now,
basically.
RJ.
Look, if I was there, if I was able to get there, you know, I loved Texas last year so much. It was one of the greatest trips I've ever had. Even spending 7-8 hours working at a Chick-fil-A that week, still was able to live it up. Eat a lot of In-N-Out, eat a lot of Whataburger, eat a lot of Torchy's tacos all weekend long. It was a good time. So speaking of eating, before we jump into the next topics here, as far as college racing, it's officially time for our wonderful segment of the week presented by Control All Protect. What are we doing? And this weekend, it goes Martinsville Hot Dog.
I thought it went to you.
Well, I guess, yeah. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Presented by Control All Protect. Eating the Martinsville hot dog. Now, I will say, doing the one, it's fine. That's tradition, right? A lot of people, you know, say it's not about the taste, it's about the tradition, whatever. But I guess more so, what am I doing? Went to when I had the second hot dog, because that was, yeah, it was. I just was hungry. That was my lunch, so I kind of just, you know, look. The taste wasn't the worst thing in the world that I've ever seen, and as you can see, the hot dog's so bad that Tanner's gone from the stream here. But like, it's not that it was horrible tasting. Like the taste wasn't bad. Like, but I will say the whatchamacallit, it was just, I don't know. Like, why? Like, I get the tradition. The hot dog's red, whatever. We soak it in red 40. Awesome, cool. But, like, the hot dog's red and the inside's gray. You know, like, neither of those are, like, natural hot dog colors. It's like I'm eating a freaking Slim Jim, you know, when I'm eating a damn hot dog, or a Airheads Extreme Bites or whatever. I have no idea. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. What are we doing? You know, what are we doing? Why is it so, like, if it's so glorified, like maybe it's just because of the tradition. Like, is that the hot dog they made like 100 years ago or something? Is that why they've kept it around? I just feel like with modern day innovation, we could at least, well, I want to say we could at least make a better tasting hot dog. But what was the damn graphic they showed on Fox? Like 40,000 hot dogs sold. So I guess
it was something like 40,000.
They're not
40 plus thousand, something like that.
They're not going to change it because Frederick and, you know, Frederick from Virginia, 70-year-old Frederick, would be really pissed off if they changed the recipe. So, but nonetheless, just a reminder that you can go to Costco and get a $1.50 hot dog and soda combo anytime you want. But yeah, that's it. What are we doing? Martinsville hot dog. It was interesting.
I wish you all.
Mason had 4 of them, by the way.
I did. I was hungry, and God forbid, like they're $2. They're $2 per dog. Like, it can't get much better than that. I know it's not.
But
it's tradition too. I feel like it'd be insulting if I didn't get a hot dog, at least one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you got 4. That's not what we're talking about.
I got 2 on Saturday, and then I got another 2 on Sunday. And like I said, I feel, again, I don't know what it is, but I feel like I'd be breaking tradition. And also, those dogs are pretty small, so just going after it on the with the glizzy. You know?
It does get better than that because you can go to your local Sheets and get 2 glizzies for $1.
Dude, me and RJ had an experience at Sheets in Virginia, dude. Holy moly.
Yeah, Virginia. Sorry, but step up your fast food game because, boy, the total wait time I had at every fast food establishment was terrible. But, yes, the Sheets where I placed my order, was really excited to have my first app sampler since July in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Had to wait about 15 to 20 minutes for it. And then had some sliders. It was good, you know, enjoyed it once we got back to the hotel, but I certainly waited a long time for my grub there at Sheets, but we still love Sheets. It's all right. I will certainly be back, whether it's in Pennsylvania or in North Carolina in a few months where I'm back for the Coke 400. But we'll see.
6.
Or 600.
Mason, can you agree that Sheets is better than Wawa?
No, I have no opinion.
Wow.
I have no opinion.
That got shut down really fast.
It did. I'm sorry to disappoint, but I really have no opinion.
I was really hoping you said Sheets because I feel like it's a clear answer. But
he was trying to get that Wawa deal.
Still am. But no, I will say I respect the best of both worlds, but I gotta say there's some about saying Wawa where it's really funny.
Here's what I'll say.
Like it flows off the tongue. I don't know.
What I've experienced so far, Wawa is better when I'm trying to be skinny. You know what I'm saying? When I'm trying to be healthier. Sheets is better when I don't mind being a fat ass for a night. That's what I got to say. Because whenever I go to Wawa, I get some pretty healthy hoagies, sandwiches. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm never getting like a burger there, or a chicken sandwich, or like fried mozzarella sticks. Like I'm not, and because it's not as good. I will say, like I've never had a burger from Wawa, but I just can't imagine it's that good. But when I go to Sheets, I'm ripping that app sampler. I'm getting the mac and cheese bites, mozzarella sticks. I got the sliders. I mean, when I was in Pennsylvania, we went there like 5 times, right? I got chicken sandwich there. I got all this type of stuff. So, and I will say, and now I will have to check out the 2 glizzies for a bone because that does sound like a pretty solid deal. But that would be my analysis there. Is that Sheets is better when you want to be fat. They got the milkshakes too. I remember, I tried a Reese's milkshake. Oh baby, that was great. But yeah, nonetheless, very unhealthy weekend in Virginia this weekend.
It was very unhealthy. I had to lock back.
Caught our toast
today.
this morning. Salad and orange chicken for dinner. We're locked in under 1,000 calories today, boys, and a banana.
Shoot,
the show.
Your boy's getting back in the gym today. And on top of that, he's eating a little grilled chicken. So I'm very much with RJ. We ate good. Don't get us wrong, but like it was not exactly good for us. So
and it's strawberry cream prime treat.
That was the one thing that actually was like somewhat healthy for us. Oh, dude, like yeah. But shout out to Beccarella and Prime Treats, Prime Bites, all that good stuff. But yeah, no, it was definitely a fun weekend. A lot of glizzies were eaten, including the fried ham sandwiches that Martinsville sells as well. I don't feel like we've talked about that enough. It's a ham sandwich, tell you that much.
Yeah,
that's all.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean it's good. I got mine with cheese though, so I don't know. I don't know if that holds any value or whatnot, but I did get mine with cheese. I don't know why I feel like such a child because that reminded me of the SpongeBob movie where Squidward's
with
like
cheese, Mr. Squidward.
With cheese, Mr. Squidward, with cheese.
That's exactly what my mind went to. I feel like if you watched SpongeBob growing up, you could literally reference SpongeBob to anything.
You really can, yeah.
Like there's a SpongeBob reference in.
Correct, RJ.
Yes. Yeah,
all right.
I agree with that.
Anyways, I did want to play this video.
Some fans said some stuff was exchanged between you and the fans.
Oh, yeah,
y'all just chopping it up.
Yeah, there's these 3 drunk kids that they didn't even look old enough to drink, and they were like just cussing at just everybody on the front stretch and like all kinds of stuff. So I had a little bit of fun with them. So it was fun.
Had to teach them a lesson.
Yeah, no, it was entertaining, right? I mean, everybody started coming over, and they were all like,
you had a crowd over there. Yeah,
no, it was fun.
Why the hell would you try and cuss out Josh Willie? You know what I mean? So that was a funny thing from Saturday. There was a huge pileup on the front stretch, as pictured here. The usual Martinsville O'Reilly Auto Parts Series tradition to make a parking lot on the front stretch. And there were some people cussing at Josh Williams, some drunk kids, he says, on the front stretch. So he got out of his car, walked over, stood on the wall, and I don't know what he said exactly, but taught him a lesson probably. He said, go back to your mama.
I don't know why that they would have given him a problem. Bro just happened to be there. Like not by choice, that's for damn sure. But it's funny. DGM Racing posted a clip that I thought was going to stay in the little group chat that we have, but it went to social media talking about how that's my goat right there when Josh was standing up on the fence when I was on the pit box. I'm just standing there like, yeah, I said, that's my driver. That's my goat. That's my teammate, blah, 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 blah. So that was pretty funny. It looks like it was filmed on a potato. I can't lie, though. But
Yeah, I don't know why the quality was.
I don't know either because I asked them about that, and they're like, you know what? We don't know. But no, I mean, I hated that for Josh. Felt like we were going to have a pretty good run with both cars. I mean, but yeah, he was pretty stout up until that point. So hated it for them. Hopefully the 92 can bounce back at Rockingham. We were actually pretty sporty there during the Rockingham test. So hopefully that's a good opportunity to get the 92 some points as well as the 91. But it was funny because our spotter on the 91 car, Joey, literally told Ross after he spun out there and at that point, which brought out the caution. He's like, well, we went from like 31st to 14th, so nice job, driver. That was how many cars that just got absolutely junked in that pile up. I mean, we hate to see that, especially since all I saw during that pile up was dollar signs pop up here. But better to be lucky than good in that standpoint or in that situation if you're in our camp. But that's my teammate, Josh Williams.
Yeah, it was an absolute parking lot there. Talked to a handful of drivers that were involved in that, and there was just nowhere they could go. Carson Quapple, told me on Sunday, nowhere he could go. Austin Green, same thing. So, the people that missed it were very lucky, and the people that were in it sucks, unlucky. So I do want to roll through a few news stories here before we get to the end of the show. Rapid fire, really quick. It's all Colleague Racing. Surprise. Daniel Dye will not return to Colleague, but he was reinstated by NASCAR. NASCAR said, hey, 2 weeks, you're good. Welcome back. But he kind of now has to be like, who want me, basically, the meme. Because Colleague Racing will not be bringing him back. From what I kind of know, that's a Ram deal. I think him and Matt Colleague, Chris Rice have a good relationship, and I am pretty confident that they would have brought him back. But I think Ram was the kind of main people in there that made sure he would not be coming back. So he will have to get to the drawing board there. And the O'Reilly series seemingly was maybe an option for him with AM Racing, but now, as of the result today with AM Racing withdrawing the 25, we don't know what's going to go on there. So we will certainly have to see. And with that, who's going to drive the 10 the rest of the season? Well, it's Corey LaJoie, who drove the Ram All-Star truck, drove the 25 at Darlington. They announced he was going to be back in it at Rockingham, but most of us kind of figured that meant he was just going to be in the 10, and now he's in there for the rest of the season. So we'll see if he's able to even make a run at maybe making the chase. You never know, get a waiver. I mean, they've only run like 4 races in the Truck Series season this year, so maybe if they get some fire under their hood, we'll see what happens. And then in the free agent 25 truck, another underwhelming announcement, unfortunately. No disrespect to Ty Dillon. Shout out Ty Dillon, but Ty Dillon, the already Colleague Racing driver, will drive the free agent truck for the second time, giving him a little bit of benefit of the doubt. Obviously, they had to scramble, I guess, kind of and figure things out, but seeming like...
Yeah, I was going to say you can't put that really on Colleague or Ram. I mean, that's just kind of, excuse my French, but it was kind of one of those, shit moments, It's like, well, now what do we do, And yeah, I mean, it's hard to have those things happen at the last minute when you're trying to get to the racetrack. So, but yeah, I'm curious to see what Corey could do. Felt like he was doing a pretty respectful job at Darlington before, one of those crashes happened. But, I feel like he's going to be good for the program, being able to build that. Obviously, with all of his experience, that's definitely going to play dividend in them trying to build the program and continuing to get better. Because like I think we talked about it last week. I feel like we've people put a lot of pressure on Colleague and Ram to just come out of the gate swinging, and in reality, it's like, it's their first year back, and they lack in a lot of areas than what people see. So being able to just continue to grow the notebook and continue to get guys like Corey and guys like Ty in the trucks to try to give feedback is going to be super crucial. And you can throw Justin Haley in that equation too, because obviously he's got a lot of experience, has truck wins under his belt as well. So I feel like this is, with with the circumstances that they're dealt right now, I feel like that this is just what they need to be doing in order to grow and move forward. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of growth that needs to be had, but I feel like they got good guys to give them feedback, and hopefully we'll see them a little bit closer to the front towards the end of the year. But we'll have to see. Time will tell.
Yeah, I guess we shall see. We got O'Reilly and trucks in action this weekend, so that's going to be awesome. We got the truck race happening on Friday, like 4:00, I believe, and then the O'Reilly race, like we said, taking place at 2:30 on the CW. So excited to see that racing at the Rock. I didn't get to see much of the races last year, so we'll get to lock in, see some racing, and then hopefully everybody has a happy Easter on Sunday. The Cup Series is off. Enjoy your Sunday and having a happy Easter. So, boys, it's been real. A lot of storylines that we had to talk about on this show. Baseball's underway. Hope everybody's favorite baseball team is doing well. If you're watching ball, Tampa Bay Rays won a game last night. We'll be playing tonight. Pirates keep getting their ass kicked. And Mason Maggio doesn't watch baseball. So, nonetheless, but hope everybody in the chat, hope their teams are doing well. And we will be back next week on the Motor Stardom Show, talking about some Rockingham, talking about maybe some Easter festivities that people did during the weekend or on Sunday. For us, it's going to be watching NASCAR Friday and Saturday. Riley on Saturday. So excited we get to watch some racing, and maybe we'll do a watch along for the Rockingham race on Saturday. Mason, are you going to Rockingham Saturday?
I will be in Rockingham on Saturday.
All right. Mason,
So that shuts that down. But maybe Friday. We can see what we do. But ladies and gentlemen, that is another episode of Motor Stardom in the books. Appreciate everybody for their continued support and for checking in. Be sure to stay tuned for more cool stuff. We got a ton of cool ideas that we're trying to put into fruition. And, I guess we'll try to figure out who's going to rock that ham the most. But this has been RJ Star Civic, Tanner, and myself, Mason Magoo. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, rock that ham, for sure. Rocking that ham and Rockingham, as Magoo says.
That is what he said.
Yeah, and shout out Amir Alexander. Got to see their Rehomed shop this weekend for the first time. It was awesome.
Shout out Checkered Flag Dan.
Shout out Checkered Flag Dan.